Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you are coming back, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you. My name is Cassie, and on this channel, we talk all things of healing, self-love, and self-care, and of course, becoming your dream woman. And on today's episode, we are going to talk about how healing and starting over isn't always the easiest process. In fact, in some cases, it can be one of the hardest things that you ever decide to do. Because it's not just about wanting a new life. It's actually about facing your past, facing your limiting beliefs, facing the decisions that you've made when you didn't know any better and that you're probably not very proud of as well. And then after all of that, you still have to do the work of creating entirely new thoughts that actually match the life that you want to create. That part, that can be really difficult, especially when you're trying to stay positive, when you're affirming, when you're doing the work and you're not seeing the results yet in your 3D reality. A lot of people get discouraged at this stage, including myself. Are thinking, maybe this isn't working. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe this isn't just meant for me. Depending on how old you are, it took years to build the belief system and your current existence, right, into your mind. So you have years of experience, years of conditioning, years of repeating the same things over and over to yourself. So it's really unrealistic to think that you're going to say a few affirmations for a couple days or even a couple weeks, and voila, suddenly your entire life transforms overnight. Wouldn't it be wonderful if it was that easy? But it doesn't usually work like that. And that's why patience is so important in this process. One of the biggest mistakes that we make when we're trying to manifest a new life is constantly looking at our current circumstances. We keep checking that 3D to see if things are actually working for us. But the problem is your 3D world is a reflection of your past beliefs. Even the beliefs that you had a few months ago, that's what you are reflecting today in your current 3D. So if you're using it as proof that things aren't working, you're actually reinforcing your beliefs. And you are going to stay in that old story because that's your current 3D, right? And that's exactly what happened to me recently. For the last few months, I realized that I wasn't telling myself empowering stories anymore. Instead, I started focusing on everything that wasn't working. And guess what? That is exactly what I continued to see in my life. More things that were not working out for me because that's where my focus was. And that's actually why I decided that March was going to be my reset month, because I had to be honest with myself. I spent a couple months stuck in my head, doubting things, questioning things, and focusing on one big thing that didn't happen in the time frame that I expected it. That happens, I lost momentum. Now, I'm not starting at square one because I learned so much through this process, but I did lose some momentum that had built this last year, that I was really consistent with my mindset work and my embodying practices as well. So now that I'm getting back at it, rewiring those thoughts, rebuilding those beliefs again, and continuing to focus on the life that I want to create, not the life that my current circumstances is trying to convince me is real. Another thing that I think really messes people up in this manifestation world is the obsession of timing. Oh, you hear people say things like this all the time. It can happen instantly. You can manifest it right now. And yes, sometimes things can happen quickly, but sometimes things take time to unfold. And you have to be okay with that. I think we really need to remove the time frame from our manifestation process. Because when we put the pressure on the timing, we start watching the clock. And the moment that it doesn't happen when we expect things to happen, we start doubting the entire process. And instead of letting things unfold naturally, we are over here in lack and keeping things far away from us because of that mindset. So the key to all of this is continuing to tell yourself the story that you actually want to live, not the story your past has created, not the story that your current circumstances are currently showing you, but the story of the life that you desire. And yes, at first it might feel uncomfortable. It might feel weird. It may feel a little even crazy. But that's because your brain isn't used to those thoughts yet. Your brain is used to your old narrative. So the new story is going to take time to feel natural, and that's okay. But the more you repeat it, the more it becomes your belief. And once something becomes your belief, your life eventually starts to reflect that belief. Now, something else that I have personally going to start incorporating more into my own journey, and it is something called ask affirmations. So instead of saying I am successful, you're going to word it as a question. You're going to say, why is my business becoming so successful? Or how did I become so successful? When you ask questions like that, it opens your mindset to new possibilities. And it allows God to start showing you the path. And you begin noticing ideas, opportunities, and actions that move you closer to that reality. So instead of forcing you to believe in something that you're struggling with, getting a lot of resistance against that belief, you can start asking that powerful question and allow the answers to unfold without a time frame. Now, eventually, yes, your identity does have to change. You have to become the person who lives that life. But if you're brand new to this work, I actually believe the first step is changing your thoughts, because your mind is constantly repeating negative beliefs. It's very hard to step into a new identity when your brain will just reject it. So start small, start shifting the thoughts first. And instead of saying, my life sucks, start saying, I'm so grateful for the things that are going right in my life. I am lucky to have another day. I am thankful for this opportunity today. And look for the things that you can generally appreciate in your current season. And then start adding in new beliefs. I am confident. I am successful. I am capable. Over time, those thoughts start forming your new belief system. And that belief system will help create your new identity. And one thing I always have to remind people of is you can move to a new city, you can move to a new country, you can completely change your environments, but if you don't change your mindsets, your thoughts will follow you everywhere you go. So you'll end up recreating the same life, but in a different location and maybe with different people. That's why retraining your brain is so powerful and so important. Because once your mindset starts changing, your entire life begins to change with it. So if you are currently in a season where you feel that things aren't working out for you, please remember, you're not failing. You're just in the process of rewiring years of beliefs. Be patient with yourself and keep telling yourself the story of the life that you truly want. Because eventually your life will have no choice but to reflect those beliefs that you have. So I hope this was helpful, and remember, starting over isn't always easy, but it is possible and it is worth it. Keep at it, and eventually everything will catch up to you. So I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.